gentlemen, good morning. Madam Chair, lady, thank you so much for those kind words. And I acknowledge the previous speaker for his very detailed speech on EB5. It's great to be back in Mumbai, and I can safely say that from the last time I was at IREX in New Delhi, which I believe is at the end of last September, I've probably visited India every other weekend because this subject has become so topical, and the demand for second citizenship, immigration, and all sorts of related products has just become exponentially grown. And it's lovely to see so many of you here today, learning from all the speakers and deciding which is either the right solution for you or the right solution for your client. A little bit about myself. I founded a company called Range Developments in 2012. I'm a lawyer by training, spent some time as an investment banker, and really got into this business by pure accident. Someone turned up to my office one day and said, I think you can benefit from a citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they said, these are all the benefits. You can travel around the world without a visa, and you get it within 3 months without the need to reside in St. Kitts. And my initial reaction was, that's far too good to be true. So off I went to St. Kitts, and that's how the business started. So fast forward 7 years, and where are we? We've opened the Park Hyatt in St. Kitts. We started construction on that project in 2014, opened it in 2017 to rave reviews. CNN put it as the world's, as the best new hotel in the Caribbean. Condé Nast put it as one of the top 100 hotels worldwide. Very proud of what we've achieved. 1 second, please. Sorry, excuse me. Very proud of what we've achieved in St. Kitts, a project fully funded by Citizenship by Investment and fully developed by my development team, of whom we're very proud. 2 years into this journey, we're invited to the sister island of Dominica, and we, in a similar fashion, using a similar funding tool, developed and opened the Kempinski Hotel. Dominica, maybe about an hour south of the island of St. Kitts, has a fantastic citizenship by investment program, permits investors to travel around the world, visa-free again, for a price point of approximately $200,000. In November of last year, we were invited by the government of Grenada to develop in this lovely island. Grenada, for those of you who are unaware, is about an hour south of the island of Dominica, and is well known for its citizenship by investment program. Every island in the Caribbean has certain nuances in its program. Grenada is known for its wide visa-free travel, visa-free travel to China, Europe, Schengen, and 140 other countries around the world. And out of all the programs in the Caribbean, this is what one of its really strong selling points are. The other point with Grenada, the other key selling point of Grenada, and really why it's become topical in the last 3 to 4 months, is that it has something called an E2 treaty with the United States. E2, and a bit of history here, is a friendship treaty which the United States awards some of its allies. Grenada was invaded in 1983 by the United States. Ronald Reagan, the then Prime Minister, the then President of the United States, sent the United States Army into Grenada because they were very friendly with the Russians and the Cubans. And it was a 45-minute liberation. But as part of the reparations of war, Grenada was awarded the E2 treaty. And that treaty says that an individual who invests in Grenada or an individual who invests in the United States with citizenship of Grenada can live and reside in the United States within a 3-month time period, subject to all the approvals being issued. And the E2 visa is issued for multiple 5-year periods. An individual needs to invest in his own business. He can buy a franchise. He can take part of his business from India and set it up in the United States. Him and his family can join him. His wife, subject to work authorization, can work anywhere in the United States. And his children can benefit from in-state tuition from the ages of 18 to 21 and below 18, his children can have free education. One of the other key advantages of the E2 visa is that if you spend less than 122 days in the United States, you're not subject to worldwide taxation. You're subject to tax on your US sourced income, but you're not subject to taxation on all the money you make elsewhere in the world. So E2 is a very flexible visa category. It's been in existence since the 1800s, but it's not available to nationals from every country in the world. It's available to those countries which have either been a foe of the United States and then have become an ally, or those who have typically fought alongside the United States in a time of strife. There's about 60 or 70 countries around the world which have E2, but in the citizenship world, you really have 2 or 3 countries which have a 6 to 9 month citizenship program where you can obtain citizenship within that time period and thereafter obtain the E2 visa. Grenada has far the most benefit. So for an individual from India, if they wish to benefit from the E2 treaty and move to the United States, first you have to become a national of a treaty country. And Grenada has what do you call it, has the best citizenship program, both in terms of cost effectiveness as well as time, if an individual is looking to pursue this route. You see, it's not a type of visa, or it's not an immigration structure that we dreamt up last night. It's a 200-year-old visa category. Last year, 40,000 individuals went to the United States under the E2 visa. This is opposed to 10,000 under the EB5. I recognize that there's a cap on the EB5, so if that number was not capped, that number could have been much higher. But 40,000 individuals entering the United States on such a business visa is a significant amount of people. And these visas are being issued in the nearest consul, either where you reside or in Barbados, which is the nearest US consulate to Grenada. They're being issued at the moment within 2 to 3 months. And we've seen E2 visas being issued out of Ho Chi Minh, out of Guangzhou, out of the consulate in Dubai, out of the consulate in Barbados, and all within a very efficient period of time. So really, since I came to India, as I mentioned, at the end of September for IREX, and this conference was fully focused on EB5 at that time, and rightly so. With the impending regulations, I wouldn't have expected anyone really to look any other way. There was such a rush towards EB5. Everyone was trying to get in before the price point increased. But since the beginning of the year, Grenada has become very, very topical. And really, it's 3 reasons on that. The first being the cost of a Grenada investment, which qualifies you for citizenship, is $220,000. On top of that, you have government fees of approximately $80,000 for a family of 4. Then the E2 visa cost is somewhere approximately for $100,000 or $200,000. So in the region of $500,000 US, you can still, within a 6-month period of time, relocate to the United States with you and your family and your children who are below 21. So time, cost, and the fact you're not subject to US taxes are 3 very, very powerful drivers which are really driving the Grenada proposition today. However, Grenada is not just limited to those individuals who wish to have a US solution. There's a lot of individuals across the subcontinent, the Middle East, Russia, Vietnam, West Africa, who are also disadvantaged by their current citizenship, their current nationality. And whether that's a perceived disadvantage or the need for a security blanket on option B, or an actual disadvantage by their citizenship, those are individual matters. But within a 3-month period, Grenada permits you to invest, welcomes you as a citizen, and provides you with the advantages of visa-free travel across the world, as well as security. Security which a second passport provides. Adding to that, Grenada has a very liberal or efficient tax regime, which basically says that if you're not resident in Grenada, so you spend less than 183 days there, you're not taxed on any of your income outside Grenada, and if you are more than 183 days in Grenada, you're taxed on your locally sourced income. So, when you combine that with an efficient application process, and this whole thing can be done in less than 3 months. And we're seeing approvals come out in 60 to 70 days from submission of an application. And I will say the application process is not a walk in the park. A detailed file needs to be prepared because the government has to get to know you. They're not demanding that you visit or you reside in Grenada, but through a due diligence process, the government needs to get to know you, and that maintains the integrity of the scheme and the value of your second citizenship. So it's very important that that process is done correctly. However, as market participants, we wish that it's done efficiently because the need is now rather than at a future date. So what are we doing in Grenada? We're building the Six Senses Resort and Hotel. We've purchased one of, I would say, the finest beaches in the Caribbean. That's not just what I say, but that's also what the Sunday Times and Telegraph says. We've purchased 80 acres of land, and our first development will be the Six Senses Hotel and Resort. For those of you who are not familiar with Six Senses, it was recently purchased as a hotel brand by Intercontinental for $300 million, approximately 6 or 7 months ago, and has been voted as the #1 hotel brand by Travel and Leisure magazine for the past three consecutive years. You know, it's a brand which is based on holistic sustainability, something which has become very topical on everyone's minds today, and the sort of wellness and holiday experience that investors are looking for. Having something which is being built at the highest quality will ensure that it'll derive the revenue, which will provide the return on investment that you are looking for. So an investor makes an investment of $220,000 at the outset. The law says that he has to keep that investment for the next 5 years, before which he can sell it to another individual who also wishes to obtain citizenship, whilst the initial investor maintains his citizenship in perpetuity. So during that time, our development philosophy of only building the best in every island, I mean, having built the Park Hyatt on time and on budget to the highest quality in the Caribbean, with all those awards from CNN, Condé Nast, Forbes, and New York Times. And don't take my word for it, please go to TripAdvisor and you can see what our patrons say, having built the Kempinski and Dominica to a similar standard. And really, we are the only company which has actually built a hotel under a citizenship program, let alone 2 hotels under a citizenship program in the Caribbean. So when you invest with Range, you can have the faith and you can have the confidence that we will deliver something to that time frame within the time we say we will. I have one business partner in this business. He's actually living in Grenada today, and his sole responsibility is to make sure this hotel is delivered to that quality. So that hotel, the discerning brand, will ensure the revenue of 2 to 3 to 4% is achieved. Subsequently, after 5 years, subject to Grenada remaining as popular as it is today in the Citizenship League rankings, you'll be able to resell your share to another individual who also wishes to obtain the benefits of citizenship whilst you maintain yours. I will say, for the sake of completeness, there are 2 ways of obtaining citizenship of Grenada. One is through the real estate option, which is known as Section 11 under the relevant legislation, and the other is through Section 10, which is making a contribution to the government, a non-refundable contribution, a one-off payment to obtain that citizenship. Now, if you look at the various price points, for a family of 4, it comes to about $230,000 versus close to $300,000 under the real estate option. So the proposition is simple. Pay an extra $70,000 to own an asset which has a face value of $220,000, which can be sold after a 5-year holding period to someone else who wants a citizenship. Now, why has the government structured it this way? Because the government recognized that the private sector is important. It's recognized that foreign direct investment today in a capital-strained environment is really difficult to come by, and it needs its tourism infrastructure to develop so its economy can grow and the jobs can be created, which is what the government is seeking to achieve. So it's kept the differential at a relatively reasonable level. which will say to most investors that, you know what, invest the extra, obtain an asset with a proven developer, and have the ability to exit after a 5-year period. And that, when it's looked at the whole and combining a yield during the life of the investment, provides a fantastic opportunity, not just to obtain a well-performing asset, but also obtain one of the best citizenships in the market which is out there, in one of the most affordable second citizenships and efficient processes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the proposition, and really why ending up spending so much time in India. Today, as a company, we've had 1,600 people trust us over the last 7 years. 1,600 people have trusted us with the change in their status, their acquisition of their new nationality, and that to us is very important and very key, and really resonates when we attend conferences like this. Our business interests are not just limited in India. This is a fairly new market for us, because when we came here with St. Kitts, when we were launching the Prague Hyatt project, there was limited interest because it was ultimately a travel document. When we came here with Dominica again, the visa-free travel wasn't a strong enough driver for the Indian mindset, for you to look to acquire a second nationality. But when Grenada came along with all the benefits of St. Kitts and Dominica, but the additional utility of the United States, the ability to live in the United States, that's been a very, very powerful driver. So I think I've covered most of the things I wish to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. We have a stall out there, and we look forward to speaking to more of you during the course of the day. So thank you.